everyone, welcome to today's video. So today I'm doing a design for a trap from ZeroFlex. So ZeroFlex Australia have reached out to me for a dealer. His name is Chris Tasker. He's a dealer in Bendigo. The company is called Central Vic Audio. So I was just having a look at his brief in terms of what he was after. So he's reached out to me in terms of looking for a flare port for the end of his existing timber port that he has. Funny enough, looking at the design, I was actually quite intrigued in how much cantilever it was doing. So first thing is, for a design like this, hopefully everyone can hear me okay, is the cantilever. One of the things I found that I noticed was the enclosure in a lot of the ports that we see. They have obviously a mount, which is where the lip is here on the baffle, and then you have the cantilever of the port or the pipe itself with the flare coming out on this side, right? Now, the problem is that this particular part here, just from the energy and the vibration that you get in the car, you'll find that this port vibrates, and this is one of the challenges I give anybody, is to record it in slow-mo and just see how much it vibrates. Anyone that's got a port that cantilevers like that, which means it puts a lot of stress right at these points, and so long term you get cracking there. So if you don't add fins to these sort of type of cantilevers, what you'll do is you will never avoid it unless you bulk up the thickness of that end. So adding fins, what it does in this case, if I was to look at it in plan elevation, and if that was the port itself, if I wasn't to add fins, I'd have to really beef up this detail here, this corner here, to stop it from cracking. If you build in the material like timber is a much more solid material, so you don't have that issue that you have to deal with plastic, for an example. In this case we're dealing with PETG, so it's brittle in terms of, although it's strong, but at the point where it breaks, it just breaks, it shatters. So in this case what we want to do is we want to add some fins, because we don't want to sit there bulking up the whole port. It's going to otherwise take up a lot of filament. So I think adding fins to the sides of these will really help brace the whole port in itself. Now I can show you some construction details in how they use it in engineering, in the role that they play. In engineering terms they call it buttresses. So basically that's what these are, these side buttresses that support the whole thing. Now there's two benefits to doing this. First thing is obviously for the cantilever, and the other thing is that anything you sort of print that's square on a printer, any printer, you're going to find the corners are going to always want to lift, and so a lot of times what a lot of people will do is they'll actually sit there putting like a raft around the actual print to help it from sticking, from lifting. In this case, adding the buttresses into a model, it means that it can help stabilize the model too, as it's sort of building up in layer. Alright, so starting the design process, this is a sort of vehicle he has roughly, where it's a station wagon, the type of enclosure he's got laid out and set up. So he's got basically the two woofers that are on top, and so what we want to do is put the port in the middle. In this case he's got a square piece, which we have to use the existing hole for. So I won't bore you with the whole process of drawing this up, so what I'll do is I'll show the final stage of it. So this is what I end up coming up with, a few examples of the port. So you can mount it in basically upright, and the logos themselves can be actually mounted in whichever way you want, and you can either mount them vertical as well. So these different colors that I have here can be printed separately. So what I'll do is I'll make a separate file for these and have them sort of printed separately as covers. So the same goes with the logos. I'll have those printed separately and follow the contour of the port as well. These side things I've made basically just cosmetic. They can be printed or they could be CNC'd or even just routed. But basically just to sort of cover up the existing wiring he has. These could be mounted over the with a spacer behind it in front of the wiring. Taking the whole bed. So first fail, I had the actual belt actually come off this, so I had to reprint this. So just doing a bed leveling for the first layer. This is going to be like a 3.5 day to 4 day print. So I'll be running this on the end machine. That way it's out of the way. Little progress. I've started the port now. So I thought I'd point something out when printing something in solid with no infill. So this is the support that's going to sort of support the model above, and this is the actual model. I'll just try to zoom in there, and you'll notice there's no infill there. So what you do is you actually cop this surface. You see it's sort of lumpy, and that's because it's trying to expand. So as I get higher, what I've done is I've allowed a gap like infill, so that the model starts to sort of become more flat when it prints. Now in the settings I should allow a little bit of a gap in there for expansion, because that's like a solid, almost I would say, 12 mil there easily, and so that's a lot of plastic. There you go, just ran out of filament. Gotta get that changed. Did a layer change to the white. So at the end of day 3 now, it's coming up quite well, almost at the last part of the print now. So the bottom layer is all done. The port's going well. I've just kept this slow so that it just stays in the same pace as this one. Into day 3, going into day 4 now. It's lifted the magnet, start to warp, but that's fine because it's only warping where the support is, where it's printed the actual printed flat. It's happening on that side as well. That's lifted there. Can't get focus. Anyway, so hopefully it survives another day. They're looking really good, just running at a good pace. So I thought I'd make some covers for those fins instead of painting them. So these finished printing. Unfortunately I ran out of bloody filament, so I just put some other red that I had. But they come up quite well, they fit actually quite nice. All finished. See how it's starting to cool down now. So all finished now, printed up. I thought I'd put it together now just to assemble it to see what it looks like. So these are the covers that I showed earlier when I was printing. So I've still got to cut out this, what do you call it, the support from underneath. So I'm just going to show that. And you can see that's the actual port itself above. So that there in itself is printed, as you can see, quite solid. You can see those waves that we're printing through. That's carried through right through to the print. And these can always be sanded back, but for acoustic reasons I would leave them, do tests with them and then see how you go. There's a neon strip in here as well. I'll show what that looks like as well when I assemble it. So I've done a little print here as well. This I've just glued it on. These are in PLA, but these will be printed in PETG so they don't melt. But you can see the different layers, and these are good for keeping the wiring. What I can do is design something where the wiring actually connects to it and keeps it nice and clean. These woofers are generally, a lot of these guys have them inverted, so it's nice to display the outside nice as well. Now this port here doesn't fit this particular base because it's not designed for it, so I've just put this together quickly for demo reasons. Let me just take this off and show what it looks like. Now this is like a 5 kilo piece, so you can see the bottom of this. I've got to cut it all out, but I haven't got to it yet. So if you can see, I've actually got 2 layers there. If you can see that. So this whole support should come off if I just spend my time on it. I've already taken some of it off, but I don't want to rush it, so I'm just going to take my time. You can see the curve inside as well that I've created for the internal part. So basically the enclosure will finish right and butt up to that line there. And 2 color layers. And so some of the things I might do next is maybe on the next version of these is, since I've got these covers, is have some bolts maybe going through, so you can help support the port when it cantilevers. That should add a lot of stability as well, and then that can be covered by these. So just some ideas. So this is what it looks like with the UV light shining onto the filament. You'll notice that the neon brights up, the neon filament. So if I take the light away, she stays lit up. And I've got quite a lot of light in here at the moment, so it's a nice filament, and it's PETG as well. And then these covers there basically can be printed for any which way you want, really. You don't have to have it. And then you have the covers as well that go on. And these can be printed in different colours, certainly. That's it, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. To the next project. I'll be doing pods next, so you'll see the video for how I do the pods. These are going to be great for the custom installing guys who want to do custom pods, pillars and door pods for their cars. check out the video. Please subscribe. Hope you enjoyed the video and hope to see you next time. Cheers, guys. Now regarding formula and settings, and I'll put the formula for that you have to use for the heads, but basically it's quite simple. If you're using a 0.04 or 0.06 or 0.08, see that carefully, yeah. It means that in this case, if you look at the schedule for 0.08, I'll be using a layer height of 0.04. In this case for 0.02, a layer height of 0.02. And so this is a plus in the middle, pretty much. So we know these two figures from the schedule, and we know this because this is the nozzle we're using. Equals, okay, so 0.8 plus 0.4 gives us 1.2, and then 0.6, and that's the layer height, width. So this is the layer width, this is the layer height, okay, and that's the nozzle size. Okay, so you use that formula no matter what printer you're using. This is the algorithm that the whole of this 3D printer works like. So when you use these mathematics, it means that the thickness, and if you ever research this yourself, because that's where I learned it from, is where it's supposed to be perfect. Okay, so it's basically nozzle size, okay, plus the schedule height that you're going to use from the schedule graph, which I've put up on the video, equals whatever that is. In this case, it's 1.1, 1.2. Now temperature, like I said, 205. First layers, and then second layer, third layer, I'll jump into bringing the temp up.